colonialism and post-colonialism. It is a very important theory for us Indians. To understand post-colonial literary theory, we have to understand colonialism first, because post-colonialism is an intellectual response to colonialism. So what is colonialism? Britain colonized a large part of this world, beginning from late 16th century to mid 20th century. Britain ruled a large part of earth. 1919 was the prime of the British Empire when the Treaty of Versailles was signed. 4,70,00,000 kilometers. That was the range of the British Empire, and it was said that the sun never sets in the British Empire. Australia, Africa, Iraq, South Asia, the whole of South Asia, India of course, Egypt, Sudan, New Zealand, Rhodesia, Latin America, Canada, Bahamas. The extent of the British Empire was simply immense. It ruled the earth in a big way. Early 19th century, because of the industrialization, because of scientific advancement, because of the gunpowder, because of the mechanized weaponry, British Empire flourished. And because of all this glory, they became very arrogant. They thought that they were the superior race, and a kind of racism was instilled in the colonized world. A theory was propounded, scholar after scholar. Renan was, I think, the first one, 1871, when he said that it is the duty of the white man, it is the duty of the British people to educate the rest of the world. Rudyard Kipling's poem, that white man's burden, it has become such a famous line. And they believed and they propounded a theory that it is the burden of the white man to educate other races, to educate other parts of the world. कि क्या करें, मतलब ये जाहिल लोग हैं, ये इंसान कहलाने लायक नहीं हैं, ये भारत के लोग, ये अफ्रीका के लोग, हमें इनको सिखाना है, इंसान बनाना है, ये हमारी मजबूरी है, ये हमारे ऊपर एक बोझ है, ये हमें करना पड़ रहा है। इस तरह की उन्होंने थ्योरी बनाई। और उन्होंने ये कैसे किया? दे प्लंडर्ड अवर लैंड, दे कट अवर फॉरेस्ट्स. Read The Glass Palace by Amitav Ghosh. It describes it so well. They took away all our minerals, gold, Kohinoor is still there, all our artifacts, everything, culture, everything. They just took everything that they could, enforced their religion, oil, all over whatever they could take from the colonized world, they took us. They took it, and the most important thing that they took from us was our self-respect. Centuries after centuries, it was instilled into the colonized world that the colonized were inferior. They were inferior human beings, that they were inferior race. Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, where he describes the African subcontinent, the African countries. And then we have Chinua Achebe, the Nigerian novelist, the Nobel laureate, the famous philosopher, he presented a critique of the novel Heart of Darkness. And he brought to the notice of the world how unjust it is. He described, Chinua Achebe described that one book labels the whole of Africa as barbaric, filthy, unclean, dark, bad, inappropriate language is attributed to Africans. It is the character assassination of the whole of Africa. It's so unjust. It is so wrong that their complexion, the skin color, is taken to such depths where everything is dark, where everything is bad. Even in India, you see, even today, the way Fair and Lovely is sold, fair skin, it was instilled into us centuries after centuries that is the standard of beauty. Beauty standards were decided by them because basically we are a tropical country. Dark complexion was our beauty point. Manuja hi raje humili sobaru sehaj sundar savaro karuna nidhan sujan seelu sanehu janat ravaro. Such romantic lines between Ram and Sita, where savaro is an attribute of the suitable groom. Krishna, the word Krishna Paksh, it stands for the dark complexion, and it is worshipped. So it is so unfair. I mean, it is difficult to gauge the impact of colonialism. Macaulay said that one shelf, all our 10,000-year-old civilization, he said that it is worth one shelf in comparison to what we have achieved, the Western world has achieved. So they left all Jallianwala Bagh happened, our Lal Padmadhar Singh from our own region, all Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, this is the Khudiram Bose, Yatin Das, this is direct, they directly killed our people, and indirectly so much was forced on us. So much was forced on the whole of the colonized world that it is difficult to measure the extent. It is difficult to gauge the impact. And colonialism still runs. It still works in so many ways. So what is post-colonial theory? Now we come to our point as to what is post-colonial theory. Post-colonial theory is an intellectual response to colonialism. Post-colonial theory gives us tools, gives us methodology, gives us techniques to undo the harm which has been done. It describes the relationship between the colonizer and the colonized in the present world. The post-colonial theory recognizes neo-colonialism, the new trends of colonialism. It tells us how to study text from the post-colonial angle. That is post-colonial theory. And it is so important for us Indians in particular. 1961, Frantz Fanon wrote The Wretched of the Earth, and in this book he described how the colonized have been dehumanized. The colonized have been given a subhuman category. Post-colonial theory in the strongest manner in a very effective manner started with Edward Said. Edward Said, in his doctoral thesis, Orientalism, 1978, he brought powerfully how the world has been divided into binaries. The mainstream is Western. He describes how the mainstream, the standard norm, the accepted norm has been made Western. The Western norm has been made the standard. Reference point of whatever we do, what we eat, what clothes we put on, the behavior that we show, everything is to be judged by the Western standards, the binaries. He calls it the othering. Othering, they are the center and the rest of the world is other. The othering of the colonized world. It was eye-opening, it was revolutionary, and it was a wake-up call for the erstwhile colonized world. And then we have Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak. She spoke, Can the Subaltern Speak? That was the original essay. She spoke of categories within the colonized world and their concerns, very logical. So with these theorists, one after another, we had the post-colonial theory. What are the methods? How can we come? Because it's so unjust, it's so unfair. The whole 1.3 billion people, India, whenever you read a novel, earlier novel, Western depiction in literature, a snake charmer, some decorated elephants, black magic, that is India. So unjust. Where is the closure? Who will apologize to me? Who will apologize to people like us? Indians of the 20th and the 21st century who are dignified, scientific, balanced, educated. For Macaulay's misrepresentation of Indian literature, who will apologize to us? Where is the closure? We have to bring the closure to ourselves. How do we do it? The post-colonial theory gives us those tools. How to bring the closure to colonial perpetuation and how to be truly decolonized. The first thing is to be balanced. Strange, it may sound strange, but the first technique is that we do not have to hate them. Hatred will be falling into that trap once again. Being balanced, being mature, we have to stand our ground. We have to be self-confident, and at the same time, we have to accept what is good there, what is justified, what is logical, and we have to reject what is to be rejected. Strongly, we have to reject it strongly. But we cannot, because in today's world, in the global world, one-sided approach will discredit us. So we have to be intelligent. We have to be balanced. That is the first thing. Choice of topic. Whenever you see we decide a topic for research paper, for thesis, dissertation, presentation, we have to keep the decolonized spirit alive. We have to choose a post-colonial topic. Then we don't have to reject English because it is our bridge to the world. It is our weapon. But at the same time, we have to revive our languages. Sanskrit, the most scientific language in the world, all other languages, Tamil, Telugu, all our languages. 20 years from now, we should have a lingual army which works on computer in Sanskrit, in other Indian languages. A systematic approach is needed. So that is post-colonialism. Translation. We have to translate our knowledge in all possible languages, in English and in all other languages. That is one strong tool of post-colonialism. This is what we owe to ourselves. This is the least that we can do to ourselves. Then the syllabus that we make. And I'm so proud of English professors in India, the stalwarts who changed it all. For professors like me, just one refresher course at BHU and I knew where I have to go. My intellectual pursuits and the direction was decided. Professor Kapil Kapoor, Professor A.K. Singh, Professor R.S. Pathak, Jasbir Jain Madam, the writings of Professor Makarand Paranjpe, there has been a silent revolution. They have been so brave that now today we study Paradise Lost along with Valmiki Ramayana. We study Shakespeare along with Kalidas. We study Premchand, Barbhat. We study all our Indian classics along with the Western classics. We compare them. This has been a revolution. A small example, the way our convocation dress has been changed. From the English gowns and all, we have come to our kurta and safa, pajama, and we look so good in that. It has such high symbolical value. So that syllabus formation, translation, choice of topics, and a post-colonial approach. Whenever we take up a book, we have to study colonial trends, we have to study post-colonial trends, and we have to be balanced. Being scientific, there is no alternative to being scientific. There is no alternative to being rational. There is no alternative to being balanced, holistic. The approach has to be holistic. We have to have the best of both the worlds. Ayam nijah paroveti gadna laguchet sam udar charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. That whatever is Western, we have studied and we have mastered it. We know it. And whatever is Indian is always ours. Our indigenous systems of knowledge, of medicine, of agriculture, our indigenous systems of society, our family structure, that has always been ours. So we embrace both the worlds. The earth is our family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We have to be mature. Post-colonialism teaches us to be balanced and mature, to understand the conspiracy and yet not be negative, to undo it in a scientific manner. That is what post-colonialism teaches us. It is, I mean, one lecture it's insufficient. You have to study it. You have to study the theory, you have to study the methodology, and you have to apply it. As I said, this is what we owe to ourselves, because post-colonialism has been, personally for me, it has been a life-changing experience. It is so relevant for all of us. Thank you. Thank you so much.